couldn't believe it either. And I'm like, good person. I don't have anything else coming up, so.
the December Amherst County School Board meeting to order. Dr. Wells, do you have something you wanted to?
Yes, sir. Before we start the meeting, in the moment of silence, I would like us to take a moment to remember some folks in our community who have recently passed away. We had Mrs. Pam Martin, who served as a longtime member of our Boosters Club at Amherst County High School, and Miss Wendy Easley, who was a teacher assistant at Amherst Middle School. Both those were well respected in our school community, and they'll be greatly missed. We also want to take time to remember the families of our students at Central and what they've had to go through the past few days, and we want to keep them in our thoughts and prayers as well.
Great, thank you. So if you'll join me for a moment of silence and pledge allegiance. Thank you very much. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, Board, before you have an agenda.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I move that we table the discussion for the school board policy, I think it's under 8.01, until January.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Second, sir.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'd like
Yes,
to
ma'am.
approve tonight's agenda.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Dr. Wells?
Thank you. All right, so we want to start tonight with staff and student recognition. So I'm going to move up here for my student recognitions. And so give me 1 second, and I'll be ready to roll.
Okay.
All right, so we'll start for our student recognition. So when I call your name, if you could come forward and then stay standing up here so we can get a group picture at the end. And then as soon as we're done, as some of y'all have some things to get to, at other schools, you're more than welcome to leave if you so choose, or you can stay for the entirety of the program if you like. But you probably want to go to where you need to get to. All right, so from Amherst County High School, we have Aaliyah Winfield. Is she here, Mr. Crawford, yet? She's on the way? I'll come back to her then. We'll go down the list first. All right, I know Mom just got off work and was getting her here. Let's start. I know Amherst Education Center, he is not here, but I'll go ahead and he could not be here tonight, but I'll read his notice too. We have Noah Reese from Amherst Education Center. Noah's a senior studying for his work keys test. Every day he is attentive and respectful. At the end of the class, he thanks me for helping him. He has also been working at the local store and is always polite and kind when I see him. So that was from Amherst Education Center, Mr. Noah Reese. From Amherst Middle School, we have Robert Hamilton. Robert, come on up. So Robert is an outstanding student who excels both in the classroom and with extracurricular activities. He is a member of our cross-country and archery teams and demonstrates great leadership and teamwork skills. Robert's commitment to his studies is admirable, as evidenced by his grades. We are honored to have him as a member of the Amherst Middle School family, and we are proud to recognize him as our Star Student of the Month. Congratulations, Robert. Good job. Our Manellison Middle School participant cannot be here tonight because there's a band performance at Manellison as we speak. So I'll go ahead and read about, it's Mason Cariaga, and I'll read about Mason. Mason has jumped into middle school and became an active part of the student community. Mason joined the robotics club and recently competed with his teammates in Charlottesville. Mason is also part of the archery club, which is now back at Manellison. Finally, most recently, Mason has been selected and is part of the Tri-M Music Honor Society. While doing all of these activities, Mason has continued to achieve well academically, earning straight A's for the first quarter. His teachers state that Mason always has a positive attitude and looks to do his best every day. Congratulations to Mason. Amelon Elementary School. Veridiana Altunar? She's on her way. She's on her way. I'll go ahead and skip her, then when she gets here, we'll come back. All right, remind me if I forget. All right. Amherst Elementary School, Miss Josie Wright. So Josie consistently looks out for others. She always goes over and beyond what is expected of her academically. She is a true friend to all of her peers and always looks out for everyone and considers their needs. She is truly a superstar student and person. And I was just been informed that this Saturday, she is singing the national anthem at Liberty University. Is this for a basketball game? Or is this for the basketball game? Congratulations. That's a great achievement.
Awesome.
Our Central Elementary School student, I don't believe they can be here this evening. Are they here? Okay, so I'll go ahead and talk about Tinley Tomlin. Tinley is a dedicated, hardworking, and responsible student. She shows up with a smile on her face each day, ready to learn and help others in the classroom. Tinley shows strong leadership qualities and can always be seen putting her best foot forward. I'm so proud of her work each and every day, and congratulations to Tinley. Elon Elementary School, we have Mosey Thomas. Mozzie Thomas, I'm sorry. She here? Come on up. I'm sorry. Mozzie works hard every day. She is committed to her academics and puts her best effort into all she does. She sets a positive example for her peers and is always kind. And we want to congratulate Mozzie for her great achievement. Madison Heights Elementary School, we have Berkeley Peters. Did I see you yesterday? I think you did. Berkeley is one of the kindest students you'll ever meet. He is responsible, courteous, and respectful to all. Berkeley always puts forth his best effort and works hard each day to be the best student he can be. Congratulations to Berkeley. Temperance Elementary, Carlin Fitzgerald. Carlin embodies the 3 temperance T's daily. She is studious, kind, organized, and optimistic. So congratulations to Carlin. Mr. Crawford? Okay, we'll go ahead and read it. Okay. Aaliyah Winfield. Aaliyah is incredibly positive and always willing to help. She currently has all A's and B's and has perfect attendance for the year, which is a great accomplishment, especially at the high school, as we have seen in our reports. Aaliyah has not only exceeded in academics, but she is a wonderful team player as well. She has consistently volunteered her time to assist with various events, including FAFSA night, Trunk or Treat, and the Winterfest. She is always willing to jump in and help others and has done so much to bring positivity to Amherst County High School. So we want to congratulate Aaliyah Winfield for that. And then back to Amelon. Okay, sorry. Veridiana Altunar. Veridiana works hard while in school and has a positive attitude. She is respectful and kind to her teachers and classmates. She goes above and beyond to complete all of her work and is very responsible and has outstanding attendance. So congratulations to Veridiana. Now we want to get a quick picture with y'all with Mr. Terry, and then, again, parents, if you need to go after this, you're more than welcome to. Let's slide to the middle. So parents, what we will do, we'll take this picture, we'll get it framed, and we'll get it sent to your principal, and they can give you, they'll have this picture for you as a memento of this night. So we'll have it to y'all here pretty soon. All right? Thank y'all, and have a Merry Christmas.
You too.
Mr. Crawford, Ms. Gray, when you show up, if they want to stick around, we'll do a picture with them as well. I don't want to, if they're making it out here, I want to make sure we recognize them, so, okay. All right, now we want to recognize Mrs. Wanda Smith. Ms. Smith, would you mind please coming forward? Read your statement here real quick. At this time, I'd like to recognize Ms. Wanda Smith. Tonight, we're recognizing Ms. Smith as a recent recipient of the 2023 Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Leadership Award. Ms. Smith is in her 16th year in Amherst County Public Schools and currently serves in a leadership role as a supervisor of math, science, gifted, and elective programs. She has been an integral part of the growth and development of many teachers, staff, and students. Wanda has served as a classroom teacher at Amherst Elementary, an assistant principal at Madison Heights Elementary, and before moving to the school board office, she was a principal at Central Elementary. Her recognition by the Legacy Museum of African American History for her role as the Gamma Iota Omega chapter president for the 2023 Leadership Award shows she leads others beyond the boundaries of Amherst. As a chapter president of her sorority, she implements many community service initiatives in the Lynchburg area and surrounding counties. We are very proud of her and excited that her work as a leader across Central Virginia has been recognized and honored. Ms. Smith, thank you for all you do for the students and families of Amherst, and congratulations. All right, ESGR recognition.
If they're here.
You can do it wherever you like,
Wherever.
Mr. Terry.
Okay. I'll do it from here. Mr. Crawford, can you join us, please, sir? So earlier this year, Mr. Picard from the high school nominated Dr. Wells and Mr. Crawford both for the Patriot Award by the Employer Support for the Guard and Reserve. And it's to recognize their employer who has gone above and beyond to support our Guard and Reserve members. And these two gentlemen both, exhume that. I mean, they just, they're out there supporting everywhere they can, encouraging people to go out and do the, support the Guard, do the thing. Luckily, both of them got the award this year, so we didn't want them to have to fight over it. So that's a great thing. But I would like everybody to recognize these two guys for all that they've done to support the Guard and the Reserve for us. So thank you very much.
I made everybody else do it, I guess.
And as we all know, you like to recognize everybody else. But,
All right, next, we want to recognize Mr. John Collins. Mr. Collins, come on up. So Mr. Collins is a teacher at Amherst County High School. So this year, he received the Virginia Association of Science Teachers Award for Physics as the outstanding physics teacher in the state of Virginia. So we want to recognize him, congratulate him for that. So, Mr. Congratulations. And my son still his experience in your physics class, so he was greatly appreciated. So thank you for all you do for our kids.
My pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Oh, you want your clipboard?
yeah, how about that? Next, moving on, Dr. Wells, 3.01.
So Next, we have to have a public hearing concerning the 24-25 school operational budget. Just to remind everyone, we have not received the governor's proposed budget yet. The governor's proposed budget will be posted December 20th. He's supposed to present that budget at 9:30 on the 20th. So really, we have not, we have some ideas where we want to go with our budget, but until we get the governor's proposed budget, we have no idea how much money we're going to get from the state. Therefore, we're kind of in limbo. So if people would like to make comment regarding what they would like to see in our budget, they're welcome to do so at this time, but we have not created a budget as of yet. So you need to go into, have to have a motion for a public hearing regarding the 24-25 operational budget.
Okay, board?
I make a motion, we go into public comment or public hearing concerning the 24-25 school operational budget.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Dr. Wells? Okay,
Anybody who wants to speak?
anything?
So it's mainly anybody in the audience that would like to speak.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak toward the, for
This
the
is
budget
regarding
only?
the-
Just the budget only
This
at
is
this
just the
point?
budget. This is not public comment regarding any other matters. This is just
Right.
regarding the budget.
This is just for the budget? Number one? Yes, sir, come forward.
Ho, ho,
State your name, please.
ho. Sure. I am Jeff Porter. I live at 478 Woody's Lake Road in Madison Heights, Virginia. This maybe seems simplistic and maybe overly basic, but I think it needs to be said. I always see budget as a means to an end. It's never the goal, and yet it oftentimes is perceived that way. This particular budget that is being put together really has aspects to it that I think we need to keep in mind. Beyond the dollars and cents, which are most oftentimes looked at, the income that you also have to consider is the talent and time and energy and prayers of students and parents and faculty and staff. All of those go into making what we want to see happen in this county for our children. They are assets that you all bring to the table. Dollars and cents are easy to be touched and seen, but our involvement, our energy, are also assets to that, and is something that we also use for making the goals and objectives of this school district possible. This school district, under Dr. Wells, during this past year, has a great story. You all have done great things. When I used to help churches put together budgets, I always like to take a moment and look back at what the dollars and cents and talents and skills brought about during this present year, so that people feel like how they've invested themselves has paid off. Well, we as taxpayers invest ourselves. You as school board members, teachers, staff, you invest yourselves in this to make it happen. You are part of the equation. You are part of what also needs to be seen as valuable. I think, is that my 3 minutes? It is. Well, anyway, you all have a good story. Tell it. Tell what you have done and what you plan on doing with this money. We as citizens need to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Porter.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Porter.
Anyone else from the audience like to speak toward the budget? Okay. See, Ms. Bird?
I would just like to say, I would like to see some raises for our teachers. We're doing the big addition in the high school, but I would love to see maybe at least painting some of the other schools inside. Some of them kind of look a little dingy. I think that would do a lot for morale in the schools, they're all seeing the high school getting redone. I'd like to do something little for the other schools. Also, make sure we update all those rest of the buses for air conditioning. And also maybe put some extra money in the CTE classes for supplies, because I know our cosmetology needs some more supplies.
Thank you.
Anyone else on the board? Okay, hearing none. Need a motion to come out?
So you need a motion to come out of the public hearing?
Okay,
Make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Dr.
So
Wilson?
next on the agenda is public comment, and before we go on to public comment, I'd like to make a statement, if that's purview of the board.
Yes.
Okay. So again, before we go on to public comment this evening, I want to take a moment to update everyone on the status of our 7 students who were affected by the incident at Central Elementary School. We have spoken with the families of all the students. The families stated that their children are doing well and are trying to get back into a normal routine. 5 of the students were in school today, while the other 2 students opted to stay home for an additional day just to get themselves ready to come back in. We have tried to be very transparent with the information related to this incident and inform our community of what has been taking place. The health and safety of our students is of the utmost importance, and it's the most important part of our job, and we will not share false information. However, someone in our community has contacted local news outlets with a rumor that one of our students is hospitalized in the ICU. I can state that according to the parents of all 7 students involved in this incident, this statement is not accurate, and none of the students in this incident are currently hospitalized. This incident at Central Elementary School brings a larger issue to the forefront, which is the amount of drugs in our community, state, and nation. Law enforcement, public safety, the judicial system, and the school division have known we have a drug problem. Our schools are nothing more than a microcosm of our community, and when these drugs are in our community, they will eventually make it into our schools. The citizens of Amherst County can no longer say the drug issue is a problem in the larger cities. The drug issue is real, and it is here in Amherst County. It is time for our parents and community to realize this and start the conversations and interventions at home. The schools and law enforcement cannot solve this problem. It's going to require our community to make some decisions on what is best for our children and the citizens of our county. The incident at Central involved a sandwich bag of gummies that was packed by a caregiver at home. When tested, the bag itself had trace amounts of fentanyl. At some point, the bag had contact with substance that field tested positive for fentanyl. Our investigation has determined that the student who brought the item to school had no idea that there was a trace amount of fentanyl in that bag. There was nothing intentional among the student. And I'd also like to add, this is the first case of fentanyl in our schools that we are aware of. Although fentanyl is a very dangerous drug, we have other drugs that are making their way into our schools. Over the past 2 years, we've seen dramatic increases in THC vape pens and THC gummies being used by students in our schools. This is a problem across all ages and grades, and it's been seen in all schools in our county. From our smallest school at Temperance to our largest school at the high school, we've had these problems in every one of our schools. We have had students ingesting THC gummies and utilizing THC vape pens at both middle schools, and we've had students using THC vape pens at the elementary schools. The prevalence and acceptance of these drugs by members of our community needs to be addressed. When asked where the items came from, our elementary and middle school students overwhelmingly report the items came from home. When we asked our high school students, they reported they were able to purchase THC vape pens from local retailers and online. We all know that Virginia decriminalized marijuana for those over 21. However, that has opened the door for our students to access THC-based drugs at an alarming rate and made other drugs more accessible. The availability of these drugs to our students needs to be addressed. Something needs to change in order to protect our most valuable resource, which is our children. We are very lucky that we did not have a devastating outcome at Central. We do not want to experience this again in our schools or our community. It is time for our parents and community to wake up and realize the dangers that our students are facing on a daily basis. I urge our parents to talk with our students about the dangers associated with these drugs. I also urge you to find out what your students are doing. I know as parents we want to trust our students. However, we are facing some dangerous times, and our youth are being exposed to so many temptations on a daily basis. To our parents, I urge you to please do your part to keep these drugs out of the hands of our youth and out of our schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wells. So we have, looks like one person has signed up who would like to speak tonight. Judith Pruitt, are you here? Okay, please come forward, please. Could state your name and your address, please.
Judith Pruitt. There's news cameras. I'm not putting my address. I'm part of District 1, Lori Saunders.
Thank you, that's what we need.
Thank you. Okay, so as much as I appreciate the news that the students are safe, what about the rest of the students that are in the school right now? When asked if the school has been properly cleaned, nobody could tell me CDC guidelines were followed. Nobody could tell me anything other than the janitors cleaned, which I'm sure they do every night. And it's not that I'm saying it's a dirty school, but there are guidelines for fentanyl contamination, and I brought pamphlets with me for you guys. Unfortunately, I only brought 5. I will leave them here with you. The other thing I want to address the concern of how I found out on Facebook, tagged on Facebook. I did not get a phone call, but the school can call me 6 times to tell me Santa's at the school. But they can't call me and tell me drugs were found in my daughter's school. Apparently an email was sent out. I didn't receive the email. So it's, what are we gonna do going forward to let the parents know that this kind of thing is happening, and what are we gonna do to make sure the school is clean? That's all. Can I leave this with you?
Yes, ma'am, you can. Thank you very much. Okay, there's no one else on the list, but is there anyone else from the public who would like to speak? Yes, ma'am, please come forward.
Good evening. Thank you for entertaining my comments. Dr. Pruitt.
Please state your name and your address,
Dr.
please.
Pruitt,
Okay.
and I actually live in Campbell County. If I could just ask a question and make a comment. Does anybody in this room know what the CDC guidelines are when there is such a contamination in a school?
Yes.
Yes, you do? And were those guidelines followed?
Yes.
How, can you explain that procedure?
CDC states that for the type of drug that was there, Virex is used to clean, and we followed that procedure using Virex.
Virex, I'm sorry, I don't know what that is.
That's a sanitizing element. They told the CDC statement says Virex can be used given the type of drug that was there.
And
that's what we followed
Virex was used where?
in the school, in the areas that were that could have been possibly contaminated by the area.
Which included?
Cafeteria and the classroom.
Okay. Does the school have standard operating procedures for such emergencies when there's a contamination?
Yes,
Written?
yes.
Okay. And where are those published?
Online, on our website. We also have them here.
I'm sorry, I couldn't find them on the website.
They're under the Chief Operations Officers tab on our website, and they're under the Emergency Response Plan.
Okay.
Ma'am, are you addressing the board? Because otherwise you can have a meeting with Dr. Wells to
One other
discuss.
question, but you made me forget what it was.
Sorry.
You distracted me. I had a question for the board. That's okay. That's enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public like to speak? Okay, seeing none, we're moving on.
So,
Dr. Wells, 5.01.
so I think our other two students that were here for student recognitions have arrived, I believe, correct? So I'd like to go back in time for a minute and recognize our other two students real quick, if that's okay. So the first was Amherst County High School, Aaliyah Winfield. Come on up. Have you stand up here in front. You can be embarrassed in front of everybody real quick. So Aaliyah is incredibly positive and always willing to help. She currently has all A's and B's and has perfect attendance for the year. Aaliyah has not only excelled in academics, but she is a wonderful team player as well. She has consistently volunteered her time to assist with various events, including FAFSA Night, Trunk or Treat, and the Winterfest. She is always willing to jump in and help others and has done so much to bring positivity to Amherst County High School. And we want to congratulate her and thank her for all she's done. So congratulations. You get to stay. We're going to have to stay up here for a picture. Hang tight. I know. I'm sorry. From Amelon Elementary School, Veridiana Altunar. All right. So Veridiana works hard while in school and has a positive attitude. She is respectful and kind to her teachers and classmates. She goes above and beyond to complete all of her work and is a very responsible and has outstanding attendance. We want to congratulate Veridiana for all she does at Amelon Elementary School. So, Mr. Chair. Parents, thank y'all for getting them here. I know it's a little bit of a rush to get here, but thank you. Y'all are welcome to stay. If you'd like to leave, you're welcome to leave as well. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Wells, 5.01.
School board recognitions. All right, Ms. Berg. You can stay up here to start. You need to come down here, though. All right. So tonight we want to recognize Ms. Gingerberg for her contributions to the Amherst County School Board and Amherst County Public Schools these past 4 years. Tonight is Mrs. Berg's last official meeting as a school board member, and I want to personally thank her for all she has done to support our students, families, and staff. She has been an advocate for our students and teachers, always striving to improve instruction while making sure our staff has been supported in the process. Additionally, I would like to thank her for her support of me during my tenure as superintendent. I greatly appreciate all she has done for Amherst County and Amherst County Public Schools. Although she is transitioning off the board, I know she will continue to be an advocate for the students and staff of Amherst County Public Schools. So in recognition of her service, you can come on down here now. We want to present her with this flag and shadow box. The flag and the shadow box was flown at each of the schools in the school division, and the certificate states for her dedication to the students, staff, families, and community of Amherst County Public Schools. We appreciate her service as a member of the Amherst County Public School Board. This enclosed flag was flown at each of the ACPS schools. Dates of service, January 1st, 2020, December 31st, 2023. Signed this date, December 14th, 2023, by William Wells, Superintendent.
Thank you so much.
You want a picture? So as we do this, on behalf of the faculty and staff and students of Amherst County Public Schools, I thank you for your service, and we wish you the best in all your future endeavors. So thank you, Ms. Berg.
Saunders, can you?
All right, next for our school board recognition, Ms. Ligon. So Ms. Priscilla Ligon. So we'll start with, I don't know if she knows about this one or not. Do you know about this one?
What y'all up to?
So many for Priscilla.
All right, so it's a certificate of recognition from the Virginia School Board Association presented to Ms. Priscilla Ligon for serving as a delegate for the 2023 VSBA Delegate Assembly, and it's just signed by Gina Patterson and David Woodard, VSB President and Executive Director. So we have that one for you. But the big one is the 2023 VSBA Advocate for Education Award. And the Advocate for Education Award is given to one school board member across the state of Virginia. And Ms. Ligon received that award this year. So, yes, I think that's something to be said. I didn't do the math to figure out how many school board members there are. Some districts have 5, some have 9, but there are 133 school divisions in the state of Virginia, so y'all can kind of do the average there. The average is probably 7, so there's quite a few school board members across the state. So I'm going to read the recognition, and then did you bring your little?
Oh, me.
Told her to bring it. She was awarded this at the VSBA conference. She knows she realized she's received this award. But she received this award at the VSBA conference earlier this year. But this is what she received it for. The Advocate for Education Award. Leadership in public education is crucial for the development and growth of our communities and society as a whole. A school board member who demonstrates outstanding commitment, leadership, and contributions to public education can significantly influence the quality of education, shape policies, and advocate for positive change. Ms. Priscilla Ligon exemplifies such qualities and has left an indelible mark on her region and the Commonwealth of Virginia. Her dedication to public education, active involvement in local, state, and federal advocacy, and unwavering commitment to Amherst County Public Schools have transformed the educational landscape, enriching the lives of countless students and families. Mrs. Ligon is a dedicated school board member and has emerged as a beacon of exemplary leadership in the realm of public education. Through her visionary leadership, she recognizes that our future rests upon the shoulders of our youth. With this conviction, she embarked on a journey that would transform not only Amherst County Public Schools, but also extend her impact to the entire Commonwealth. The hallmark of Ms. Ligon's leadership is her unyielding commitment to providing a quality education to every student, regardless of their background or circumstances, recognizing that a well-rounded education is the cornerstone of a thriving society. She champions initiatives to enhance curriculum standards, encourages teacher professional development, and ensures equitable access to educational resources. By pushing for advanced placement programs, vocational training opportunities, and arts and music education, she demonstrates a holistic understanding of students' needs and potential. At the local level, Mrs. Ligon fosters strong ties with the community, making education a collaborative endeavor. She works with local churches and civic organizations to engage parents, educators, and stakeholders in meaningful conversations about the direction of public education. By actively listening to concerns and incorporating feedback, she not only demonstrates effective leadership, but also strengthens the bonds between the school division and the community. Understanding that the challenges faced by her school division are not unique, Mrs. Ligon advocates for education beyond local boundaries. She has taken an active role in state education policy discussions and has served as a school division policy representative with the Virginia School Boards Association for over 15 years. She collaborates with fellow board members across Virginia to address common issues such as funding disparities, standardized testing, and at-risk students. Mrs. Ligon plays an active role within the Virginia School Board Association. She demonstrates exceptional leadership by serving as a mentor to new board members, sharing her insights and experience to foster a culture of continuous learning and growth, and her active involvement in VSBA conferences and workshops has inspired other school board members to take an active role in advocating for positive change in public education. Through her tireless dedication to public education, Mrs. Ligon demonstrates exceptional leadership, commitment, and contributions that have had a profound impact on Amherst County Public Schools. She continues to advocate for policy changes that prioritize students' well-being and educational success. Mrs. Ligon's exceptional leadership, commitment, and contributions have left an indelible mark on Amherst County Public Schools and the Commonwealth of Virginia. Through her unwavering dedication to quality education, active involvement in advocacy, and commitment to the Virginia School Board Association, she has demonstrated the power of passionate leadership in transforming public education and uplifting communities. This is awarded to Priscilla Ligon, November 17th, 2023. Congratulations.
Off that easy. Careful, careful. Congratulations.
So, Mr. Jerry, we need a motion to go into recess.
So, Board, we would like to go into recess. Can I get a motion to go into a quick recess?
I make a motion that we go into recess.
I get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
15, 20
15,
minutes?
20, as long as y'all need.
Okay.
So there are some snacks out here in the lobby if y'all would like some snacks. consent agenda, just so everybody's aware, religious exemptions. We spoke with our attorney and some other divisions across the state and have stated that with religious exemptions, they can be under the consent agenda. If there's an issue with those, then you would have to ask for it to come off the consent agenda for closed session, but as long as you all agree, they can stay on the consent agenda.
Okay. Board, anything?
Oh, yes. We move for approval of the consent agenda.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Okay, Dr.
All
Wells.
right. So again, the policy committee was tabled till next month, so move into administrative. Dr. Hoden.
Good evening. Is it working? Okay, just making sure. So first on Mr. Oaks and I's agenda is the construction update. So if you have been over to the high school in the last few weeks, you will notice that they have cleared the old Burley property, and the retention pond is at the bottom, and the parking lot has been cleared. So in the spring, they'll work on finishing that. They've also cut the road through up between the baseball and softball fields, and the timber from the back of the high school is cleared. A lot of those large trees were hanging over the building, and while the Reeves Lumber Company was in there, we had them cut that timber. So progress, and then hopefully first part of the year, we will start digging the footers for the cafeteria and auditorium. You have anything you want to add to that?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Hoden. Board, anything for Dr. Hoden?
Hey,
Yes, sir.
the cell tower, was that still on the table? Is that something that's gonna move forward?
We have not heard from that company, Dr. Wells. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. They had contacted us, but we have not heard any more from that group.
All right.
It was supposed to be at the bottom of the hill there.
Correct, correct. Yeah,
It would have
down
been a
there
perfect
looking-
time to
Yeah.
put it in, but we have not heard any more from that.
All right.
Okay. Second, the grant update. As you're aware, we received about $350,000 from the Stronger Connections. We just recently, this week, did a bid process, and we had 3 vendors show up for that. And so we'll be proceeding on that. Bids are due very shortly, and we'll hopefully begin that work first of the year on some of the interior and exterior doors at the schools for safety and security. And next, number 3, at your place, you should have a page that describes a pilot program that we would like to do at AEC. This is an abstract of the 6th and 7th grade program, and this will, as you know, we do not currently have any placement for 6th and 7th grade students. So this would be a pilot program that we would like to start second semester to finish out the rest of the year. We do have the funding from this from the All in Virginia, so this would just be one position. And Mr. Penn helped in designating this. It would be for 8 students.
We would look at 5 from Manelson and 3 from Amherst Middle on average, but typically 8 students from 3 weeks to 45 days, unless the board were to do a placement decision and place them there for a longer period if it came to a school board decision.
Board, anything for Dr. Hoden?
Any discussion on that? I know that you can either discuss it tonight or hopefully give us the green light in January, but we would like to post this position if you all approve on this.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
So, Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
so what would the position exactly be titled? I mean, I understand the concept of the program, but what is the position?
Teacher?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
That's why we limited to 10. One teacher could handle those students, and but we couldn't go above 10 given the alternative placement option there.
It would be really designated mainly for a short term, but if we did have a situation where we had to do a long-term longer-term placement, we could possibly do that as well. So it gives us another tool in the tool belt for 6th or 7th grade students.
All right, and as we continue forward with our budget for next year, this teacher, would this be a state-funded teacher, or is this a county-funded taxpayer position?
Right now, it's would just be a pilot, and it'd be funded with the All in Virginia funds.
If we were to continue it, it would be under local dollars.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Hoden, so by adopting this program, I'm presuming that this will help keep some of our students in the learning environment that would not be able to.
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
Thank you.
Quick question, these students would be transported to AEC, right?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
What safeguards do we put in place to keep the younger students and the older ones separated?
Well, middle school students and some of our routes are already combined already in parts of the county just due to the northern end of the county.
I'm talking about at the school.
At school, they'd be in a separate hallway,
Separate hallway, separate classroom.
yes. So it'd be down the hallway by Mr. Penn's office in that hallway, and the other students are on the other hallway.
Okay, and things such as lunches or restrooms and breaks, are they still separated?
The restrooms, they have a one person at a time in the restroom policy during class, so they have a sign-in sheet for that as far as the computer. As far as the lunches, we would have to work with the lunches and probably have them get their lunch and bring it back to the classroom to eat so they're not mixed in with the other students.
Okay, thank you.
Board?
Carrie?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Dr. Wells, on recess or quote, free time, the bathrooms, what is the policy there? Because that seems to be one of those times that we run into problems with students.
They don't really have that time.
They
Okay.
have eliminated that because we've had some issues in the past.
Great, thank you.
It's different than in the regular school setting.
Board, anything else for Dr. Hoden?
So the
Thank you, Doctor.
the options are, again, if y'all like to deliberate about this and we could bring it back to you in January, at the January board meeting. If you feel positive about this now, you could approve, but again, I don't want to make you feel you have to, encourage you to do that tonight, but if you're at that point where you feel comfortable with it, you could approve tonight. If not, we could bring it back to you in January and answer any further questions you may have at that time.
So, Board, I like having it as an option. That's just my thoughts on it. So I'm up for the board's discretion, though.
Dr. Wells and Board, I too think it's a good idea. My only thought is that if we delayed it a month, that would give the community an opportunity to have an opinion if they want to share it, if that makes sense.
Our next board meeting's prior to the semester change, so we could do that now. Filling the position may take, we can't post it until you approve, so it may take us in a couple weeks to fill the position. But that's fine. I mean, we just we didn't have a chance to really talk to y'all about this prior to tonight due to this other circumstances that were going on. So I'm fine with, the January decision, and we can move forward from there and then, start the process. But just so you understand, we can meet in January 11th board meeting. Y'all could make a decision there if you opt to approve, and then we could post the next day and, fill it within the next couple of weeks, we would hope.
Mr. Terry?
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Wells, are there other districts in our area that are doing something like this?
Other districts have a middle school program. We used to have a middle school program, but with the recession in 2008, the funding was cut for that. So we did away with it and just kept it as 8th graders. So we had a middle school program. AEC was designed to have a middle school and a high school program, and it was built. That's why it's laid out the way it is. But during the budget issues in 2008, 2009, 2010, it was cut.
Okay, so this is not something new. This is a reinstatement of something that worked well for us in the past.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
And actually, Ms. Justice, there are a few divisions that have a elementary as well.
thank you. So, hearing that, I
Dr. Wells?
take my suggestion back.
Okay. Anything from the board?
Quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
This is using All in Virginia funds, so
That's correct.
that is going to last What would it support? A teacher position for how long?
For the rest of the year.
The rest of the year, and then we have the option to place it into the spending plan that I'm going to be talking about here in a minute.
For next year, okay. And how does the SAC process play into the students that
this-
are recommended for this?
So this could actually be into play maybe before SAC. It would be another alternative because we would have that option to go just a few weeks, like 2 to 3 week period. This may be something that we could place a student there for a short period of time, maybe even before they came to SAC.
And this teacher of record would stay at their school, their base school. They would go there and do the work and work on some behavior modification and things like that to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they can go back to their base school knowing that if they continue those behaviors, and they might end up being placed there as, for the longer period of time.
And then with this being a pilot, Ms. Thompson, we could also maybe tweak it. If we continue to carry it on for next year, we could say, well, this is okay, but we need to maybe reverse, maybe, the SAC would be first and then maybe placed here, and we could change that. So it would give us a chance to see how this works in a couple different areas.
Mr. Perry?
Yes, sir.
In the past, as we had the program before, the benefits didn't outweigh the recession, but what kind of benefits did we see with it before? Does anybody have any information on that?
Well, at the time, I was at the high school, but I know, talking to other principals at the middle school level, it gave them opportunity to provide some services for those students that they can't really get, and really do some additional and intensive work with them as a small group setting. And then we had students return back to school, and they were actually successful at their base school. Now, is everybody going to make 100% turnaround? No, but we did.
Opportunity.
The opportunity's there, and it gives us a chance to try to work with these students and get them to understand what they need to be doing to be successful, both behaviorally and academically.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Justice?
Will Dr. Norman be telling us how much the program will cost?
We can give you a rough idea of how much a position
Right,
costs,
how
given
much
full
one position
benefits
costs.
and salary and benefits on a regular position. Mr. Gallagher might know that off the top of his
Yeah,
head.
we'll end up giving you some information on what, a teaching position would cost them prorated, for the number of days remaining after break. Another comment, just from a hiring perspective, right now is when we're recruiting and trying to hire December graduates, so we do have a pool of candidates out there, and this is not to make any decisions, but if we wait a little longer, that pool tends to be lesser, and, as we move through January, just from an opportunity perspective, it's a good time right now.
Okay. Anything else from the board?
Perry?
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that we approve the new position.
Okay. So, you
A
got
second.
Okay. Any other discussion about it? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Okay, Dr. Wells?
Thank you. So we had just so if you're, for the board, if y'all could, the microphone, speaking to the microphone, Mr. Porter, I think, is having trouble hearing.
Okay.
Certainly.
Thank you.
All right, 9.02, you should have in front of you Policy Revision J. That is for the first read.
And again, this policy was basically updated to meet state code. It changed the date, the amount of time we had to notify people of parents of bullying. So it changed it, I believe, from 5 days to 1 day, I believe is how it's stated, if I remember correctly. But
From
that's the
5
only,
days to 24 hours.
yeah, that's the only change. It just puts it in alignment with state code. The rest of the policy stayed the same.
Chair, I don't see why we couldn't approve it tonight as opposed to first and second read, but that's just my opinion. It's just a simple time frame
It is.
change.
Yep. Anything else from the board? Questions?
Can we enforce this?
Yes.
Yeah,
We have
no
to.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, I understand that. I'm just
Yeah.
making sure that we have the resources to
We've been
identify,
following it ever since it was passed anyway. We just hadn't had the policy, hadn't caught up with what we were doing.
understand.
Do I hear anything
Motion
from the
to
board?
approve?
Sure.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Okay, thank you for that. As Mr. Rossi, our principals are already following that, so that's a good thing. So thank you for doing that. 9.03, student suspensions. You have in front of you the student suspension report for November. Any questions?
questions, board? No, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have finance. I am not Ms. Laconage. Ms. Laconage is not with us tonight. She is not feeling well. And so for the finance reports, there are no major issues with the finance reports. However, if you have questions about anything you've read in those reports, you are welcome to reach out to Ms. Laconage, and she will be glad to respond. But she is not able to answer any questions with us tonight, so I just want to give you that information. As far as the budget, as we talked about earlier tonight, the state budget will be posted. The governor's proposed budget will come out on December 20th at approximately 9:30 in the morning. And so we'll get that. We'll get the calc tool, and then we can start working on our budget after we get the calc tool. This is a long session in the General Assembly, so we will have the House and Senate versions of their budget based sometime in February, and then they'll cross over and go through their whole process. And who knows when we'll get the actual, but we'll have a good idea based off the governors and talking with our legislators that I've been able to speak with. They believe that the governor's budget will be the worst case scenario for us this year, and the House and Senate will be probably a little better than the governor's regardless. And then we won't really, we'll work through that, but we will base ours off the governor's to begin with, and then we'll build one based off the House and build one based off the Senate to see where we are. But right now, when we meet in January, you'll have some information based off the governor's proposed budget when we meet, as far as how much money we anticipate getting from the state in those categories in January.
Board, any questions that Dr. Wells can answer?
Probably not many.
Well, Mr. Terry?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Are we able to have a report that shows a program budget, how our expenses go per program that we're implementing in the school? Are we able to do that?
Are you talking like instructional programs or an operations, a maintenance, a transportation?
Instructional, I think.
Instructional program?
Yeah.
That's very difficult to do in regards because all the personnel actually goes into, like my budget is 22 million, but that's personnel in the instructional program. So it can be done. It's a very laborious, difficult process to do.
Okay.
And Ms. Laconage would have to.
Okay.
I have to agree to that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else from the board? Excuse me. Okay.
All right. So before I turn it over to Dr. Norman for instruction, I do want to thank Ms. Klein, and I want to thank Ms. Job for the food tonight. We got rolling again back into it real quick, and I forgot to do that. So we want to thank them for preparing the food for us tonight. And it was very good, and I greatly appreciate it.
Yes.
Yes, so thank you. All right, Dr. Norman, instruction.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the board. The first thing I'd like to talk to you is about the All-in Virginia Spending Plan. It is up on board docs. This has been submitted to the state. It has been approved by the state, is on the VDOE webpage. This is just to give you the very specifics of, in a broad way, how we are trying to take the money that they have awarded us and disperse it appropriately. The bulk of the money in this first year is going to stipends to our tutors that are in the classrooms, as well as we have set aside certain things. So we've set aside $300,000 in regards to our summer school programs because we know we're going to be using high-intensity tutoring in that program as well. We have also will be budgeting for the required reading specialist under the Virginia Literacy Act, so that will go into play as well. We have a homebound/attendance and truancy person. There is a portion, so All in Virginia is broken into 3 categories. It's learning loss, which is the high-intensity tutoring. It is the Virginia Literacy Act, and then it is anything dealing with chronic absenteeism. So we had to fall in those 3 areas. and we took the biggest concerns that we had, which is our homebound programs and the communication between our homebound families, our teachers, as well as making sure that we had the instruction in place and good communication back and forth. So we have a specialist that's going to be assigned to that. And then a lot of this are positions that are currently being funded by our ESSER 3 grant, which I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And so instead of, we're keeping our grant for ESSER 3 ends September of 2024. This grant actually can roll over into the next 3 years. And so what we've done is tried to pick up as many of those ESSER grant-funded positions using the grant funds by the state of Virginia. And that was the intent by the state superintendent when they awarded the All-in Virginia spending plan. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Board, anything for Dr. Norman?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Norman, I know that after COVID, our focus has been on quality Tier 1 interventions, instruction, I'm sorry. And I know from research as well as practice across the state that the next thing to do is focus on Tier 2. So what are we doing on a daily, weekly basis for that Tier 2 instruction? Have we moved from Tier 1
Yes,
to
ma'am.
incorporating Tier 2? And with that, what does Tier 2 look like? How does the Bridge program merge with that Tier 2?
So one of the things, and Mr. Neighbors and I are coming back to the board in January to kind of give you the nuts and bolts of what we've done first semester in regards to instruction and our subgroup populations. Because that is a concern for us. So what we did, the state requires us to do instructional visits and instructional rounds in the school. We have adjusted what we did this year based on data that we received at the end of last year and what was working and what didn't work. So we would go in as an instructional team into the schools and we would observe classrooms for student engagement, high quality Tier 1 instruction. We would give recommendations. We would give commendations, we would meet with principals, and we would discuss what are some of the strategies that can be used in the classroom to support all students. This year, we changed that up because we wanted to go through the cycle of instruction to really model it for our principals and model it for our instructional leaders across the division. So we go in with a small group into the school, and we review with the principal and the assistant principal and their leaders, their team, their teacher lesson plans. We look for alignment, written alignment, tested alignment, and implementation in the classroom. Work with the principals to give feedback directly to the teachers. Then we come back in and we sit in on the PLCs, talking with the teachers, listening to their data, listening to their discussions on their student subgroups, looking to the, helping them with their interventions or their strategies that they're using in the classroom. And then we come back and we actually observe those lessons. We observe the implementation of them. We hit it again with PLCs, with our division liaisons to see how did those students respond to that. We did that for 2 instructional rounds, so we've been through every school. I'm stressing him out right now. We just met with the principals on Monday to talk to them about doing like a push in January to actually go in and meet side by side with teachers talking about subgroups with a list of high yield strategies and interventions for Tier 2 and Tier 3 kids who just aren't able to use what's going on in the classroom and pushing it forward. We start that January the 24th, and we'll go for 3 weeks, 2 days in each building, doing consultation with every reading and math teacher, and then coming back and getting targeted support in the classrooms, working side by side with the teachers. One of the things that we wanted to make sure is that we just don't come in and observe and give random feedback to them. We want to be side by side with them working in the classroom. So my entire instructional team is pushing in the month of January, working in the classrooms with teachers. We have 4 teachers right now that are in our instructional coaches working on Tier 2 and Tier 3 intervention list. Not just a list, but the list with a description and how to roll that out in the classroom. So it's a moving target and a moving process, but it's something that I think will get our students where we need them to be and kind of play catch up along the way.
Well, it sounds like to me that you and your team are going to be doing a lot of work.
Yes, ma'am.
So my question now is, how will our students receive Tier 2 interventions or Tier 3 interventions? When and how?
We have several different options that they currently use. We use small group instruction at the elementary, both in reading and in math. We do pull out for our students with disabilities as well as push in. We have Tier 2, we have Title I services that they received in the area of reading, and we also provide PALS tutoring that started up, I believe, last month. We also do teachers, if they find that a teacher is, and this has been going on at the middle school math specifically, where a teacher really gets a concept really well and they're showing their data significantly higher than another, they may flop. And so one teacher may go into and teach a strategy for a group of kids that just aren't catching on very quickly. We've had that happen a couple of times as well. So it's a variety that they're using in the classroom. And we'll know more in January once we get through this next round of push into the classrooms.
Okay, so if I'm a student on Tier 2, I'm receiving my regular instruction in the classroom under Tier 1.
Yes.
Then I may be pulled over to the side and worked on Tier 2 interventions.
Yes.
Is that with one teacher or 2 teachers in the classroom?
We have that both. So if I am a reading teacher and I have small group instruction going on, I've been in classrooms where it's just been one kid pulled over to work on that. We also, in our writing blocks, both at middle school and at our elementary, they have writing conferences with the students, which is one-on-one. So we leave that up to the teachers and their professional. They know their kids better than we do, so we just give them some flexibility in regards to that.
But I think you also asked, it's a 1 teacher in the classroom or 2 teachers in the classroom?
That's a variety.
And that's situation dependent on what the needs are. A lot of times our teachers will be 1 and they'll do small group and have other students working in group with Lexi or other Excel or things like that while they're working with the small groups as well. So you might have different stations where the teachers with 1 and the students are doing independent practice at the other stations.
Okay. And then we have the Bridge program.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what, 45 minutes a day?
It is. So
So is there any way to use that time for Tier 2, Tier 3?
Yes, ma'am. So one of the things that we asked the principals to do, and we offered to them where we saw kids struggling in their groups. So we actually at the division level put students in groups based on the specific skill that they were struggling with, and teachers can move them in and out of groups. Principals can move them in and out of groups, as they should for Tier 2 or Tier 3 instruction. One of the things that you would ask is, how does Bridge tie into what we're doing for Tier 2 and Tier 3? Right now, what we are doing is all created by our teachers in Amherst County Public Schools. So it is created by us because we have not been given the platforms to where everything's loaded and everything's ready to go for VDOE. Ms. Wheeler's going to talk about that in a minute. We only get that access in January, and we will start with the state platforms in January. So right now, our teachers are utilizing lessons that we've created that tie to the 6 different strands of skills or concepts that we were deficient in across the division in for reading, and then the 6 that were across the division in math, kind of trying to fill the gap there. But we're hoping that everything kind of bridges, because both Zern and Lexia are diagnostic, so it moves with the ability level of the student.
Okay. And I'm trusting that for those students that are struggling, that we are utilizing our most proficient teachers in each subject matter for those students?
Yes, we have, yes, ma'am, as best we can. Please remember that we have every kid in the division and in a school. Some of the schools, every student needed to be in the all-in high-intensity program. We have every child in it because we just think that it's a good program that we can implement. But not every kid was required to be in it. And so those that are required to be in it in regards to what the state calculated, yes, ma'am. If they were struggling the most in reading, they were placed with a reading teacher or somebody who taught reading. If they were struggling with math, that was as best we could. Principals placed them with a math teacher. Those that did not need it in our Extend program, a lot of them are with our fine arts teachers or our health and PE teachers. And so it depends on which school you go to. But yes, ma'am, as best as possible, we've tried to accomplish that, and we've given flexibility to the principals to be able to move kids in and out of groups.
And then my last question is, I know that there was a survey about the Bridge program. When do those results come in?
We have those results, and we can give those results to the board.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Board, anything else? Thank you, Dr. Norman.
You're welcome. The next thing on my list, I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Wheeler, who is going to talk to you about building bridges to success, and then give you a snapshot and introduce our 2 principals who are going to come and tell you what's going on in their school. Ms. Wheeler?
Thank you. Mr. Chair, members of the board, thank you again for the opportunity to come and showcase some of the things going on in our building during our bridge time through All in Virginia.
You broke it.
Bridge.
Yeah, there we go.
And take it away from him.
You are so not allowed.
It's the jacket.
It's the jacket.
Okay, now that we can see what it is we want to look at, as Dr. Norman said, we are currently utilizing iExcel as our online platform for both reading and math. We use that kind of a placeholder as we've been waiting for the state platforms to come to us. And as she mentioned, beginning in January, we will have full access to both Zern and Lexia. And so it's our intent to begin implementing those with our students January 15th. Teachers have been able to have access to a variety of training. One of the things we heard from them is they wanted that flexibility and being able to have training. And so they've had the opportunity to participate both in asynchronous or synchronous training for both of those platforms. And that's been going on throughout the month of November, December, and then again in January, again, just to give them flexibility to be trained before our implementation date. Both Zern and Lexia are state approved. We're super excited for Lexia to have been added to the state's approved list in place of Ignite. Amherst County Public Schools currently uses Lexia division-wide in K-5. And that data is looking really good as far as our students K-5 who are using that to really close the gap, looking at the number of students through that program diagnostic that are working below grade level. That number continues to shrink. And so we're very excited now to be able to offer the power up version of that to our middle school students. And again, as she mentioned, that is very much specific to what a student needs. That program is tailored, provides scripted lessons for the teacher or the tutor to print off and implement to kind of intervene or accelerate in that moment. We have collected some student and staff surveys and are going through that data and are happy to share that with you. One of the things that is kind of glaring to us is that our students and staff love the hands-on opportunities that they get each Friday and then every 3 weeks. And so to date, we have had 5 of those extend opportunities. This week, our students are working on Up on the Rooftop, really talking about how we structure roofs and how we can have snow and water kind of move off of those and just different structures and how to make those structures more sound. So we're super excited about that. But I want to just turn over the excitement for our principals to be able to share with you. And so tonight, if Mr. Ron Profit from Central and Mr. Lance Martin from Temperance will join us at the podium, they want to talk about some of the excitement that's happening in their own buildings.
Don't touch the clicker.
Not touching anything. Good evening, Mr. Chair, Board. You know, if I'd walked in to a school doing something like this before experiencing what we're doing with Bridge, you know, essentially what I'm saying is 23 years in education, I've been part of a lot of remedial programs and called a lot of different things. I've seen the green and gold schedule at, actually built a green and gold schedule at Manelson, and I've done block scheduling in Lynchburg City Schools. Pretty much all of them to a T. You look at the kids' faces and they're bored out of their minds. And I think what's really different about the accelerated learning program that is building bridges to success is the students know it's part of their day and they're not bothered by it, especially when we get to do the hands-on lessons, as Ms. Wheeler referenced. If you were to happen upon Temperance on any given day, say around 10:30 in the morning, and you were to find yourself in a 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade classroom, you would be in for a treat. What you would witness would be extremely small groups of accelerated instruction. The group sizes ranging from 3 to 5, which allows for targeted individual attention. In addition, you would see students working on math and reading programs that identify deficient areas for students and in turn target those areas to provide the additional guidance they need to become proficient. Now I'll hand things over to my colleague Ron Profit, who will provide you information on how his school time is using Bridge Time.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you so much for this opportunity to come before you tonight, talk a little bit about Bridge Time. Much like at Temperance Elementary, at Central Elementary, we're constantly using Bridge Time from 10:30 to 11:15 in order to reinforce our students' needs. We use IXL reading and IXL math in order to help students fill in needed gaps in their learning. We also use that to increase their knowledge in these areas. These platforms allow students to work self-paced as needed along with teacher support. One of the great benefits, as Mr. Martin spoke of just a moment ago, is the flexibility we have in the program. So we use a A-B group approach. So we have one group on the digital platform for around 20 minutes, while the other is with the tutor or teacher, and then they swap places, and that allows them to have that one-on-one time directly with the teacher during Bridge Time. As he also alluded to as well, we take time to work on the science extension lessons. As you can see some pictures here of our students working on that. And you can see how they, it's definitely hands-on and collaborative, which I think adds to the excitement for the students as they work through that. Mr. Martin is now going to talk a little bit further about some things at Temperance.
Thomas, I know you asked about who is actually filling the tutor roles and is it the most experienced teachers? And this next set of information kind of speaks to that a little bit. What makes All in Virginia a bit more unique at Temperance is, as you might expect, the size of the school. Being a singleton school with only one class per grade, the majority of the students are working with their classroom teacher or a teacher that they have a close interaction with outside of the classroom. This pre-existing relationship between the students and their tutors only enhances the instruction and learning taking place. Upon a closer look at the images, you'll notice that the students utilizing flashlights and magnifying glasses. The specific hands-on science activity serves as a prime illustration of accelerated learning, aligning with grade 5 Science SOL 5.6C to explore the behavior of light. Not only is it a valuable opportunity for our grade 5 students, but it gives our school a way to be connected with each other's learning. You see true joy in the faces of the students and the staff. Once again, I'm going to step inside and listen to Mr. Profit talk about his Bridge experience.
Thank you. So our students that are depicted here in these pictures are working on weatherproof structures, which was a science related SOL-driven project that was an extension activity focused on several SOLs on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade level. And one of the great things about this lesson is students were able to work in groups in order to create buildings or mixtures using the sand and other items we had, glue. It was crazy, as you can see, one of the students said it was messy, but it was fun. Okay, but one of the things they did after that is they put those structures together, and then once they had, dried or solidified, they were able to then see which one would be the most weatherproof. It was a messy endeavor again, working with the sand. I know some teachers were a little bit, oh my gosh, here comes sand in the classroom. Students as well. They had a great deal of fun with it. And the hands-on nature of it was wonderful to increase engagement. We're always talking about increasing engagement. This definitely was engaging and hands-on for them and a great experience for them. And you can see here our students working with the materials in several of these pictures here.
Got nervous at the beginning, wanted to say happy Christmas Eve vacation.
Thank you, Mr. Martin and Mr. Profit, for your support of the Building Bridges to Success program. And at this time, if you have any questions, we'll be happy to try to answer those.
Thank you. Board, anything for Ms. Wheeler? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Ms. Justice.
Ms. Wheeler and Dr. Norman, Mr. Neighbors, all of you. I'm listening and seeing what's going on, and I'm going, there's got to be a ward coming up down the road for what happened in Amherst County, because you guys have looked ahead at what was coming, have anticipated, and then created a program that was aggressive ahead of what was being required. And I think we're going to see some very positive results, and I really appreciate all your hard work, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else from the board? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Ms. Wheeler. The next item I'd like to talk about is laser and VVAS, and I've asked Ms. Cecil to talk to you. Oh, sorry about that. If she would come and talk to you in regards to what the VDOE is requiring in regards to our data platforms.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the board. Attached on board docs, you will find a memo providing a brief overview of the digital platforms being utilized for student data analysis. The Virginia Department of Education has provided us with 2 valuable web-based resources designed to enhance the ability to analyze student performance, make informed instructional decisions, and set those long-term student goals. VVAS offers a unique perspective on student growth across Virginia's division and schools with features such as growth, diagnostic, and student projection reports. VVAS will help to foster productive data conversations at both the division and school administrative levels. As we use VVAS to help us identify areas of strength and areas requiring additional support, it will serve as a tool in the development of our continuous school improvement plans. Additionally, ACPS is in the beginning stages of piloting the platform LASER, which stands for Learning Analytics to Support Education and Reporting. This decision analytics system, developed by the VDOE, includes 3 modules: the Basic Accreditation Tracker, the Early Warning System, and the Student Group Comparison module. LASER has been created to help teachers, administrators, and support personnel gain a more comprehensive understanding of how we can support our schools and students. As LASER's analysis uses current data, it will support the data discussions and data-informed decisions that occurred during PLCs or ATSS team meetings. Utilizing both in tandem will be an instrumental for data disaggregation and progress monitoring of student performance and growth. These platforms offer opportunities for both district level and individual student level analysis, which will enhance our ability to tailor that instruction and support the unique needs of our students. As always, we will continue to keep you updated on the progress and benefits derived from these platforms, and I will be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Board, anything?
Mr. Terry,
Yes, ma'am.
I do have a question, but it actually goes back to the previous section. The professional development is being provided by whom?
In regards to
The
Lexia
bridges, yes.
Bridges? Actually, each platform has their own training. So Lexia, we're going through training. All of our teachers can sign up for that training. They have to complete that by January the 15th? Correct. 15th, and the same with Zern.
Okay, thank you. And then for Mrs. Cecil, we had the opportunity last week to go to the accountability forum, I guess you would say, and they were talking about a, I think, tracking system that would be able to project student achievement based on a couple tests. This is different,
No,
correct?
ma'am.
That's VVAS.
That is BVAS.
Yeah.
Good. I'm really excited about that. That was a really good informative session. So thank you for confirming. That sounds like a much more efficient use of teacher and student time. Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Thompson.
Question, to piggyback on the training, is that training that teachers can access at any time, or are they in time slots that they're required?
They have both, so they can sign up for a webinar that they actually interact in regards to it, or they can sign up for an asynchronous module that they can go through, or they can do both.
Okay, thank you.
Board, anything else? Thank you.
Okay. The last item on my list for accountability is Admentum course load. So several years ago, before the pandemic and before COVID, we provided our students the opportunity to utilize an online platform. The board uses it if you suspend a child and they go out for home instruction. We also use it in Lancer Academy at the high school and at AEC. And one of the things that a previous board before the pandemic determined was that once we did this online platform, that the course load for a student who was at home was that they could take 2 courses at a time and finish those courses and then move to the next 2. Since going through COVID, with everybody now learning online platforms and kids understand it and they can literally walk themselves through it, we wanted to open that back up and get a consensus from the board in regards to allowing students who are home doing online courses to be able to take more than 2 courses at a time. What we're seeing is if they've been given that option, they don't get through all of those courses in the time that they're at home, and it puts them behind when they come back into the school system, when they come back into the class. We still monitor that. This is one of the things with our All-In Virginia plan. The homebound coordinator would actually support and keep track of. But it's one thing that we have known where we want to keep students on pace for graduation, and by limiting that to 2 courses at a time, when some of our students could take a full schedule, and they've shown that we would like to go ahead and ask the board to agree to us opening that back up for our students.
Okay. Sounds like a no-brainer to me, but anything else from the board? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I agree. It sounds like a no-brainer. Just want to clarify one thing. Are we going to limit the students to just the amount of courses they could take if they were actually in school?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's not like
No.
unending?
Right.
Okay, great. I agree.
If they were on a 7-period day at school and they had to be placed on administrative homebound based off a disciplinary issue, then they would still have those 7 classes.
Okay, but we would sort of say that's the
That's it.
most they could take?
That's the limit, yes, ma'am.
Great, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you need anything from us?
Just the board consensus.
Okay. Board? Everybody?
Thank
Yes,
you very
ma'am.
much.
Mhm.
I
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Yep.
11.02 is an ESSER 3 update. This is just an informational item for you. What I did this time, you have 2 of the plans and on board docs for you, and they have both been redlined like you had asked previously. So anything that changed in regards to our plan, this is the second to the last plan update we'll give to you. We will finish this out at the end of this school year when the grant goes away. The biggest change that I can tell you in regards to this is All in Virginia. I went ahead and added that in because it is a part of Virginia's plan moving forward out of ESSER 3 grant funds into All in Virginia funding. And so what I did is I incorporated that. Ms. Lukanich is overseeing the spending plan. She actually gave you the actual numbers from that spending plan last month, and this is just the Word document that provides you information. It is on our website on the front page as the state requires, and then once you have reviewed it, I will take out all the red and update it and post it in the next, before we get into January. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer those.
Okay. Board? Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Dr. Norman, so when you say it's on the front page, is it under learning and academic programs?
No, ma'am. If you go into our actual homepage, let me get there. And go underneath it's in the, underneath the What's New section. There is a ESSER 3 use of funds feedback where any of our community members can go in and fill out a survey saying if they agree or not agree, or if they want to comment on our plan. And then the two plans, the plan to return for in-person instruction and the spending plan, down on the very first page when you open up.
So what I'm looking at is the Amherst K-12 VAUS. I see Amherst County Public Schools, School Board, Organization, Schools Learning Services Calendars.
Yeah, just keep scrolling down. It's not a specific tab. It's actually on our page, on the front page.
All right. Okay, there we go. Thank you. Welcome. That way I can answer the question when people say, I can't find it. I go, thanks.
Any other?
Board, anything else? No, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Wanted to bring to the board this evening an update on some of the support we've been providing our special education programs. At your place, you have a memo outlining a program that we initiated at the start of the school year. So there were 3 key areas that we targeted for technical assistance and support, where the entire student services team was going into school buildings and being there side by side with teachers to be able to observe, glean information, collect some data of our own, and determine how we can best support the individuals that are providing those services to our identified students. The first component of that are collaborative instruction observations. We just completed our second round at each school where we went in and observed every single collaborative team in the building, looking at a few different facets. So first and foremost, we evaluated lesson plans to determine to what degree they actually have time to plan together and how that's represented in that documentation. Ultimately, are they able to have the conversations that they need to plan effectively for that instruction? Is the data available to make those individual decisions for students to determine that level of intervention that might be necessary? We did spend time in each of those classrooms, full class periods, to see those dynamics. How are the teams interacting? Are they fluid? Are they working well together? Do they have all the tools that they need to really know what that dynamic of instruction looks like going back and forth? We talk about collaborative instruction being a marriage. In a lot of ways it is. We want to make sure it's healthy, that they're working together, that that relationship is solid, so our students are getting what they need from an instructional standpoint in those classrooms. I'm very happy to report that those were an overwhelming success. In every single school, we had at least one truly exceptional team where I would be comfortable with any other team in the division walking into that classroom and me saying, this is how it's done. It is amazing. This is how it should be done in all of our collaborative classrooms. That has not always been the case. A lot of work has gone into that, and I really need to applaud our collaborative teams for putting the work into that planning, having those discussions, and making sure that they're doing everything they can for all of those students in that classroom. I was also very, very happy to see utilization was up. So in every single classroom we were in, all staff were engaged, student engagement was through the roof. We could really see the benefit of having multiple teachers in that classroom. And that's one of the things that we want to see when we're coming out, that we are really investing those resources and we're getting that good positive return of both of those individuals being in there. In addition to that, we also just completed, or are about to complete, excuse me, tomorrow, our second round of annual goal data reviews. So as a part of every IEP, we have to identify at least one, in some situations it's many as 8 to 10, annual goals that students are going to work on over the course of the school year. What we wanted to do is be able to get into schools, work with our case managers, and make sure they had all the tools that they need to be able to collect appropriate data on student progress with those goals, and then also understand how to best report that to families so they understand how that progress is being made and what that looks like for each individual student. Again, very happy to report that those were very successful. We got a lot of good feedback from teachers. We were able to go through those data collection models. We had some teachers that literally came with entire boxes of data notebooks for us to look through. That always makes my heart happy because I know we're doing a lot to try to support those very specific skills that our students are working on with that. So again, just like with our collaborative observations, a lot of success, a lot of wonderful stories, a lot of exemplars that we can utilize where it's not just us saying this is how it should be done. We can direct teachers to other teachers that are just doing it phenomenally well. And that's always an incredible place to be. The final was a pivot for us. So what we wanted to schedule was time in each school for what we were calling performance data reviews, where we could go in after common assessments had been completed, growth assessments had been completed, and work with our special education teachers specifically to break down that data and understand how we can best support those students going forward. As we were having conversations with teachers and all of our other time in the building, we discovered that they just needed us to be there to answer whatever questions they might have, to support whatever they might need, and we could still allow a part of that to be that performance data review. So we took that time and we just camped out, for lack of a better phrase, in the buildings to be there to support, to go up to teachers' rooms, sit with them, check on them, see how they're doing, what support they might need. We did talk a little bit about that performance data, but ultimately be able to support all the other process that our special education teachers are involved with. It's a heavy lift. It's a lot that we ask them to do, and we want to be able to be in there, spend that time with them, and make sure that we're supporting them as best we can. This has gone very well for the fall. We've been very happy with that data that we've been able to collect. As Dr. Norman alluded to earlier, we are using that data to inform what we do going forward. So the pivot is going to be after Christmas, coming back and being good collaborators with the rest of our instructional team, getting back into all of those classrooms, but really looking at how we're making data-based decisions for individual students. Ms. Thompson, your question about Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions, for us, that's where we really want to focus that time. Are we working with our staff to truly understand where that data can come from, how that should be interpreted, and how we're selecting intentionally those interventions for students, regardless of whether they're identified as needing special education services or not. So our hope is by combining forces, we can pull all this data that we've been able to over the course of that first semester, leverage that, and really do a lot to have those conversations with teachers, again, special education or general education, to help inform that data-based decision-making process so that all of our kiddos are getting what they need. But ultimately, just wanted to, again, shout out with our special education staff. Have done an incredible job. It's a heavy lift. It's a lot of work that we asked them to do, but could not be more impressed with what we saw as we were making those rounds in that first semester. All right, I know that was a lot quickly, but be happy to answer any questions the board might have about that.
Thank you, Mr. Neighbors. Anything from the board? Yes, ma'am.
I don't have any questions, but I just want to comment. When I was at the school, Central, I got to interact with some of the special ed teachers, and the morale was high. And that was a very encouraging thing to see. So I just want to validate what you're saying.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything else from the board? Thank you, Mr. Neighbors. Thank you, Mr. Dr. Norman.
Next, we have Mr. Gallagher with Human Resources.
All right, Mr. Chair, members of the board, good evening. I'll be brief this evening on this penultimate day before winter break. I have one item for you tonight. and that is this month's iteration of the vacancy memo for your review. We've made some progress, mostly in the professional area, mostly due to some December graduates coming through and some other folks that have taken some of those vacancies that have been open throughout the year and will be filling those vacancies beginning January 2nd. And not quite as much progress in the classified realm. We have made some progress with bus drivers and have one additional individual that hopefully will be getting prepared to join us in those ranks, but that has been a bit slower progress in that realm. But I'll take any questions that you might have regarding any of that information.
Board? Okay, thank you, Mr. Gallagher.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have our student representative. Mr. John Goins is not here with us tonight. He had the football banquet for the football, so he was attending that this evening. But Ms. Adams Davison is with us this evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the board. I would like to start with a quick update on what's been going on in my life. I have been accepted into all of the colleges I have applied to, and thank you. Thank you. And I plan on attending, furthering my educational career at Sweetbriar College under their engineering science program.
Congratulations.
Thank you. In welding, I'm working towards my Shield Metal Arc Welding certifications, which I'm really enjoying, and I feel it's going pretty great so far. Hopefully it stays that way. Show choir is also going quite well. We had our winter concert last week. That went very well. We had a great turnout. And yesterday, the Amarecos performed for the Amherst Women's Club. It was very nice to be able to go out and show our talent and just some holiday spirit for our community. Both the Bells and the Amarecos are still actively working extremely hard on our competition pieces, and we can't wait to finally reveal our shows on February 20th at 7 p.m. in the ACHS auditorium. Y'all should come. And we are also working on our pieces for an event called All County. This is the first year that Amherst has had this event, and we're all very excited for all the different ages and schools to come together and just share our love for music. One topic that seemed a little important for me this meeting is the CTE program's funding. I know I'm not exactly educated in our school's budget or finances, but most, if not all, of our CTE programs could probably use a little bit of extra money. I know personally cosmetology and welding at the high school are struggling, and I'm sure others are as well. Specifically those two, I know, are running out of supplies that are necessary for their courses. And like in welding, we will probably run out of our welding rods before the end of the year, which could potentially even prevent students from finishing their certifications. Our CTE programs are very important considering they provide a future for many of our students, and our CTE programs have had a lot of success, and I feel it's very important to focus on these programs and their finances. I just ask, as we head into the planning period for our next year's budget, to keep our CTE programs in mind. But moving forward, lots of positivity has been buzzing around our schools. The construction at the high school has been looking really good. I feel like every time I pull into the school, either a new tree is gone or a new piece of equipment is in the parking lot. And it's just really exciting to see that this plan that has been talked about for a couple years is finally coming a reality. We had National Signing Day that took place this past month. We had 2 athletes who signed letters of commitment to attend college and play at the Division I level, so congratulations and the best of luck to them both. And our track season has also officially started, and from what I've heard, they're off to a really great start. Our high school hosted Winterfest for our community. It provided various activities for the county's youth and their families, and it also provided students of our schools with opportunities to just get involved, and it had a very great turnout. And then the PTO and the Apple Harvest Festival Committee and our culinary, Mr. Addison's culinary students, they actually treated the ACHS faculty and staff to a little holiday lunch. And I have a couple close teacher friends, and I know they were talking to me about how they really appreciate when they do that type of stuff. And I definitely can tell it puts like a boost in our school. It just makes everybody full of joy. Speaking of joy, this week ACHS had their Holiday Spirit Week. We got to dress festive and just get in the holiday spirit. It's been lots of fun, and I think it definitely has made this week like something to look forward to, because I know a lot of seniors like to skip this week before holiday break. Lastly, my thoughts and prayers go out to our community and the families affected by the incident that was at Central Elementary School. And I thank all of y'all for everything that you do. I thank all of our faculty and staff, and I hope everybody has a great Christmas and a great holiday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Board,
you.
anything for our student rep?
Congrats on Sweet Bride.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
congratulations. And
Thank you.
Thank you, Lil.
Glad to have kept you local.
That's right.
And we'll make sure you have Weldon rods. Okay. We'll get you some. We'll make sure there's plenty of those. All right,
Okay.
superintendent matters?
Yes, sir.
So, first off, I would say I had the pleasure of being on Fox News today, but I don't know if it was a pleasure being on Fox News today. I was on Fox News today at 1:40 this afternoon to discuss our situation at Central. And, you know, this has made national news, and if you watch anything, I've had people contact me from across the country that if you watch the national news, it was on all the national news channels, and I hate it that we made the news for this reason. And but I think our response to this has been as good as we could have it. And again, for those families involved, I apologize that they had to live through this, and we'll do our best to try to keep it from happening in the future. But we're here. We just got to make sure we move forward and make sure we take care of our kids. So we had our legislators visit this past, about, 2 weeks ago now, 3 weeks ago, and that was a good meeting. And so I heard there was some good information coming out of Senator Deeds when he was there talking to us about what his plans were. We also, as Region 5, had a legislators meeting with the region, all the delegates and senators from our region, and Senator Deeds was there as well as other representatives were there. And it was a very positive meeting. We got to, as a region, a superintendent's region, got to express what our needs and what our concerns were moving forward, and there's very good dialogue, very good interaction. So appreciate those who could be there for that. I know during the day it's difficult sometimes, but I think it was a very positive meeting from what we held here. Quarterly reviews, we're continuing quarterly reviews. We've done those, and we'll be doing some more here lately, but the interaction with the principals, they've been able to share their data, and that's the main thing, is knowing their kids and knowing their schools and knowing their staff, being able to express that to us, that they have digging into their data and they can express it to us. So that's been very positive. A reminder to you is statement of economic interest. I know. I hope you kept last year's. You can't date it prior to January 1st, and it's due by January 31st. So we gave you copies, I believe.
And I will email a fillable PDF form if you choose to fill it out online, and we can.
Okay. And again, look at what you had last year and make sure you can complete it for us and just get it turned in. For those who were newly elected, you need to take your oath of office prior to the January board meeting. So those of you who were re-elected or elected need to have that taken care of. The 2024-2025 school calendar, I want to just talk about that for a minute. I asked Mr. Gallagher when we made the calendar up to build it off 177 days versus 180 days. The other 3 days, I wanted to add in teacher work days. And talking with our teachers, they all said they would like additional teacher work days. And looking at the calendar, that still gives us 24 days for snow days based off the 990 hours that we're required by the state of Virginia to have students in school. So we still have plenty of time built in for snow days and emergency days and things like that. But it would allow us to give our staff 3 additional work days, but also build a calendar of 177 days for students. So that is what I've asked them to produce and build off of. I believe you have at your place a draft of that. And then we'll bring it back to you in January for further discussion. I just want you to understand it's based off 177 days versus 180. But we feel, given our time, that this would be beneficial for our staff to have those 3 additional work days without adding time to the end of the school year and so forth. So that's just where we built it off of. I talked to other divisions, other superintendents, and a lot of them are on that 175 to 177 day in our region of the state. So I just felt it would be a good way. And again, that's up to the board's purview. You will approve the calendar, but that's what we built it off of, and we can always adjust it if necessary based off your direction. Next, I have the sick leave bank information. So, we've been talking about leave and things for our staff and what we can do to assist staff who have those issues where they need to be out. And so other divisions in the area, in the region, have a sick leave bank for people on the plans 1 and 2. So we are looking at possibility. We've been investigating that. So I've asked Mr. Gallagher to look at that, and we'll hopefully have information for you on that in January as well. But I just want you to be aware of the sick leave bank as we're looking into that as a possibility. It would not have any true financial implications on us. It would just allow those teachers that need that additional time or have an emergency that somebody could, like for me, I have 280 days. I could easily give 5 days away and it won't hurt me at all. But somebody who is almost out of days could really use those 5 days. So that's kind of the thought process behind it. That would be capped. It would cap it between 15 and 20 additional days and so forth. But they have to use all their leave first before they're able to access it. But it does give us an opportunity to help those individuals who may need that need the extra time. So again, it's something we'll bring to you. I just want to put it on your radar so you're aware.
Thank you.
Questions on anything so far? Okay. All right. Enrollment projections and school capacity study. So we know there is some new construction coming to Madison Heights. Just a little bit. It's anticipated to be around 2,000 rooftops in Madison Heights in the next 10 years. We also are aware that under our projections and what we see as our enrollment numbers, that we probably cannot absorb at our current elementary schools in the south end of the county that increase in enrollment in what we have. But we want to make sure that we have data to show that. So what I've been talking with the county on this, and we're looking to go out to bid on a firm to do a enrollment and school capacity study based on the new data coming in of the subdivisions that are being proposed in Madison Heights. That way we'll have data to give to the Board of Supervisors moving forward and data for you to use as a board as we project out where we need to be in the next 5 to 10 years. Right now we're okay, but if these things start really happen and they really get developed, we know that we'll need probably a new school somewhere in the south end of the county if everything comes to full strength as have been proposed. But I want to have somebody to look at that besides just me doing my analysis. I'd like to have an outside firm that specializes in this to do that analysis. So we'll be talking to you and talking with the county about that moving forward. And then looking at the funding for it, we'll have to probably have to pull some money from our CIP or from our budget. And also I'll be talking to the county about can we kind of split the cost on that a little bit, since it kind of is beneficial for both of us to have this study. But that's more to come. But along those lines, if we do have to build a school, there has been a proposal by the developer of the town center to donate some land to the school division to build a school. And I think that's going to work. It works for the audience. It doesn't work for them. So under Block 12, you can see Block 12, that lighter green shaded section. Kind of right there. I don't know if y'all can see that or not, the cursor. So that is about 18 acres of land that has been proposed to be donated to the school system. Not sold to the school system, but donated to the school system for the sole purpose of building a school. We would not be allowed, we have not actually done any paperwork on this yet. It's all been in conversation, but the understanding would be it'll be used for a school. We couldn't take that land and then sell it ourselves and profit off of it or build something else on it other than a school if we were to build a school there. So that would be the concept. If at some point we don't decide to build a school or we don't see the need for the school, then we would work out with the developer to, the land would revert back to the developer in some capacity as opposed to just sitting there vacant. But talking to the developer, that would give us an opportunity, for a community-based school where students and citizens in that community could walk to the school, that the surrounding neighborhoods could easily walk to school. It would take the pressure off of Amelon, Madison Heights, and Eland based off of how we drew the lines and so forth. Again, we're talking 10 years down the road, but as you know, from our high school project, we started the high school project conversations in 2018. It'll be 2025 before it's really finished, and that's a 7-year process. So if we start the conversation now, in 10, it'll be here before we know it. So we need to start thinking about this. We can't wait until 8 years from now or 9 years from now to start having a conversation. The conversation has to start now. So when we do get to a point where we need it, we've already had those conversations, so we can start moving that direction. So again, it's proposed, nothing's set in stone. No funding's been guaranteed, anything like that, but it is something we, as a school system, need to think about, and something the county to start thinking about is what we can do in the south end of the county, because we can't really expand Amelon. There's nowhere to expand it. It's landlocked. You can't expand Madison Heights. It sits in a hole. It drops off into the 30, 40, 50-foot drop off each side. And Eland, without building a new Eland, you really can't expand Eland more than by 8 classrooms. Now, if you were to take the old Eland and move it and get rid of it and build a new school in the site, you could really do some probably different things with how the school is laid, but that'd be another $30 million project. So I don't anticipate that happening right now either. So that's kind of the process there. But I think we do need to start with some type of study first, just to make sure our projections are accurate. So I'll probably be coming to you as we have budget discussions and discussing this when we have our meetings in January and February. Any questions?
Board, anything for Dr. Wells? Okay, it's exciting.
All right. Next, school board professional development. And talking with the chair and vice chair, we would like to have professional development for our board members on January 18th. We will try to pick a time that is good for the board. It could be during the day, it could be during the evening, whichever fits the board's discretion. But we need to have we need to do some professional development dealing, what are my topics? We have FOIA we have to go over, conflict of interest forms we have to go over, and then some other development there. So we'll have Mr. Wright come in and talk about some of those issues, and then have some time for us to kind of talk about the budget and everything else moving forward. So look at your calendars. Hopefully the 18th works. And then we are looking at a location at Sweetbriar College for this. And we're going there tomorrow to actually scout it out and see what's going to work. So if the evening works better, late afternoon works better for you, that is fine. We'll make it work. You just let us know what works for you. Okay.
Terry?
Yes, ma'am.
Quick question. And to my understanding, this professional development is being provided by our district through our attorney, Mr. Wright.
The
Is that
FOIA would be yes. The others training would be by us doing internal
great.
work.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Anything else, board? Okay. Thursday. It's a Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then February is School Board Appreciation Month. So we have something planned, and it won't fit in here. So we need to go to Manellison for our school board meeting in February. So I'm just putting this out there now. Just plan on being at Manellison in the gym for the February board meeting, so we can honor you as a board, but also have room for people who need to be there for it, because it won't fit in here. So.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
No cream pies, right?
No cream pies to the face. No, yes. And then one of the last thing I have is the community dinner. Community dinner is going to be January 25th at 5:30. It's at the Madison Heights Community Center where it was last year. If you were there last year, I think you had a good evening. I had a great night. We're doing it again. We advertised it today, and we already have people signed up for it. It went out this afternoon, and people have already signed up to attend. So we're capping at 200 guests. And so this is being done through our Show Up Amherst and the funds we have there. So it'll be a good night. I encourage you all to try to attend, but it's January 25th, starting at 5, doors open at 5:30. We'll start serving meals at 6. And that'll be, again, at the Madison Heights Community Center. And unless there are any questions, that is all I have.
Okay. Board, anything for Dr. Wells? Anything else for Dr. Wells? Yes, ma'am.
It's relating to our student reps' comment about supplies.
We'll make sure they're taken care of.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Mr. Crawford has no problems asking for money.
No, he doesn't. And then last me, I just, before we go into the board comments, just wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and hope you have some time to relax and spend time with family during the holiday. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so next we're going to move into committee reports and individual school board member reports. So, Ms. Saunders, you get to kick it off again.
Your last time being first.
I know, I sort of like being on the end, I just don't like being first. Especially not today. Congratulations, Lily, that's exciting news. And congratulations to all the students of the month. Special congratulations to our staff, and a big shout out to Ms. Wanda Smith, who didn't want to take her picture, but we got you. It's really exciting that we're closing this learning gap. I wish, sort of wish my kids were younger again, that they could take advantage of this, because this was missing a few years ago. And to have that flexibility that you guys are catering to students, to each individual, is just amazing, and way to go. Thank you all. Just want to say I'm glad everyone is okay at Central Elementary School. I hate that an innocent snack that was shared with their friends ended up just turning to something terrible. But I believe that Dr. Wells and the staff and the sheriff's office and public safety, they acted fast and appropriately. And now we know, unfortunately, how to go forward if this ever happens again. Hopefully not. I wish everyone a blessed Christmas and a Happy New Year, and that's all for me.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Rossi.
Yeah, the Student of the Month, I think that program is well-suited for the district. I think it brings light to those students that show up and move forward and do it more for who they are, and it shows how the community's supporting them, the teachers, and the recognition does go a long way. It's a good program. And our student rep over there, congratulations. Off to Sweetbriar. I like it. Maybe get some more teacher friends over there. Actually, I think they're professors over there, but you'll get used to that. Congratulations. As we build the bridge and take care of learning loss, it's been a struggle, kind of like building the high school. It doesn't happen overnight, and it does take time. And taking the time to see the progression and work toward a goal is very important, what y'all are doing, and I appreciate what you're doing to move the district forward, understanding the struggles that the students go through, the teachers are going through, and how important it is to identify those struggles and overcome them and move forward. It's really nice to see the progress, and I know it's slow, but the end goal will be well worth all the struggles that you're going through now. It's overcoming those obstacles every day. It's not just, we had a great week. Yeah, well, we still got tomorrow to go. And there's always tomorrow, but there's not enough time for tomorrow. So I understand the struggle. It's terrible. But the incident from this week, yeah, I got 2 grandkids there. It hurt. Our kids, we got to protect our kids. Parents, do the right thing. Talk to your kids. It's a dangerous world. They're growing up in it. And we got to be strong. We got to do the right thing. If you see something like that, say something. It's the teachers can't see it all. Teachers can't see it all. SRO do their best. They can't watch every student all the time. Take the responsibility, teach your kids, talk to your kids, have those conversations. It's not just something that happens in the cities. It happens right here. Every day it happens here. And it's the world we live in now. Protect your kids, talk to them. Community, speak up, please. We can't afford it. We can't afford to lose a child. And with that, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Rossi. Ms. Justice.
Thank you. So as far as Governor's School, there is a lot going on. And right now what's really important to me is for our students on January 11th and 6th period, there's an opportunity for students to get information about Central Governor's School. And I can't encourage you enough to fill out the interest form and check out this unique opportunity for college-level courses that you have the opportunity for credit from the University of Lynchburg, a 4-year school. The scientific experience there is indescribable, and you owe it to yourself to check it out. When I was watching their video of all the former students and current students, I was astounded by the broad variety of subjects of interest. You had one student doing a project that impacted the automotive field. You had another student that participated in launching a rocket. So I can't say enough. You owe it to yourself to check it out and apply. If you're intimidated by the process, just take it as practice and applying for something, and you might hit something you'd be surprised at. So it's a great privilege to participate there. There is so much tonight. I had the opportunity to go to the bus Christmas party on Wednesday and was blown away. It was such a picture of our community taking care of our kids. 90% of the people there are of retirement age, and they're there because they love our community and our kids. And one lady that was celebrated was Miss Nellie, who's been there 51 years. That means she was driving bus before I was riding bus. And she stayed there because of the kids. And so that was just a privilege to be able to connect with the backbone of our community. I got to CES. I want to speak to one. It was a great example of our safety plans and our personnel and their ability to rise to the occasion in something that required split-second decisions to take care of these kids, and they did it. So when people ask us, do we have a plan? We just had an example of how our plan works. And I want to speak to the parents out there, and I want to speak to the kids. Parents, I know there are those of you that are buying vapes that have HTC, that don't see it as a big deal and are allowing access and sometimes even buying these vapes for their kids. And even though it's been made legal for you, it's not safe for our kids. We have fentanyl-laced vapes. It's out of control, and we need you to step forward and to take the steps to protect your kids. So, Mr. Porter, thank you so much for the encouragement that you shared tonight in your questions regarding the budget and how to look at it. I took it to heart. I have an idea. I love the Student of the Month idea. It's fantastic. And I was thinking, I've heard that a while back we had a staff story of the month where you got to see a picture of our staff, whether it's a bus driver, a custodian, the people that make up the tapestry, that are part of the tapestry of our school system. And I thought it would be really cool if that might be able to come back. Winterfest, I went for show choir and got to experience Winterfest, and I was not dressed as a school board member, so it was very, very fun. The choir, as always, was inspirational and just reminds us of the joy of living that we have today. Learning loss, what came to mind for me as a student, and having had students myself who had learning challenges and were very behind, that the saying that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger is really true. This learning loss is given us an opportunity to launch stronger programs, to teach students skills that are going to help them move forward. I cannot think of the word right now. Exponentially. And what comes to mind is years ago, there was a gold medalist swimmer who had asthma, and life-threatening asthma, and he was a gold medalist, and an interviewer said, "Have you ever wondered what you could have accomplished if you hadn't had asthma?" And he looked at them and he said, "Oh no, I accomplished all of this because I had asthma." When we have to work harder to accomplish something, we build greater muscles. So be encouraged. All the hard work you're doing is going to launch you forward, and don't give up. Thank you. And Merry Christmas. Have a great time.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Ligon?
Okay, well, dittos and dittos. Everyone has said great things, and it has been a great night, much information. Congratulations to everyone that got rewards and awards and notifications. It's a good time of year. Requiring us to just think things through. But first of all, my report from Laurel is that we had a meeting last week, and things are well at Laurel. We have 5 students there from Amherst County. The conversation now is we're looking at the fund balance and going to consult with the CFO of Lynchburg City to kind of see where we are with that money. Trying to purchase a bus, so the Laurel has their own bus because the divisions are not always able to supply a bus for the field trips. So Dr. Lewis and her staff at Laurel are doing quite well and excited to go home for the holidays. One of the big events was VSBA meeting. Dr. Wells gave me a ride down, and we enjoyed ourselves. And a lot of good information, just hitting hot topics. Every division is discussing some of the same things that we are: absenteeism, mental health, loss of learning, and how to accomplish that. I also found a lot of conversation about construction, which is kind of interesting since we are in the midst of it. School divisions are trying to decide, do you build a new school, or do you do what we are doing, add additions and do renovations? And so it's a 50-50 there. But I was excited to know that we're right in the running. Amherst is doing great jobs with great things along the lines of what other people are doing. We also attended the legislative breakfast, and we want to thank Dr. Wells and his staff for arranging that and those who were there. Always good to hear what people are saying in Richmond, and more important for us to tell them what to say while they're down there. There's no point in having elected officials if you don't share with them what you desire. We're talking about CTE here, we're talking about more supplies and all these mandates, so not just at the breakfast, but we need to continue to communicate with those people. I was able to attend the Comprehensive Plan Forum. I'd just like to say that so much work was done by Dr. Wells and his team to be out there with tables ready to talk to parents. And we didn't see a lot. I'm just going to go down that road. We didn't see a lot of participation. I realize it's a busy time and people are doing this, that, and another, but so many questions could have been answered by Dr. Wells' staff during these forums. And parents sometimes will call him, I'm sure, or even come here and ask us, or even put it on social media, things that are not true. The best way to find out what's really going on would be to come out and experience what supports we have, what we're doing with equity, what we're doing with the budget. I mean, just somebody was there to help you with that. I was listening to a little bit myself. So I thank you all for putting all that together. And maybe we can try it again. I don't know, technology is a great thing. Social media is good and bad. I mean, if you're going to put false things on social media about the school system, that's not good. But you should go directly to the source. And I want to thank Dr. Wells and his team, as we've heard previously down here, what occurred in Amherst this week. I'm not going to go over it again, but I was confident with the emails and texts I was getting that they were dead on top of it. You couldn't have been more professional with it. You couldn't have been any quicker with it. And at the end of the day, I realized what we've been through, but we got to also be glad. I am. I was looking at a documentary as I close about sorrow and joy being in the same room. And I was like, what in the world? Well, the joy of this is that we had no fatalities. We had none. The sorrow was that we even had to go through it. But let's be real. We are living in these type times. And it won't be the first time, and it might not be the last. But I know one thing, we're ready. I have confidence in the people that attended to this. And so those parents and grandparents that I have friends at Central Elementary, it's nerve-wracking. But let's look at the other side of it. We made it this time. And as some of the board members have said, we screen parental involvement, parental control. Here it is. Parents got to help us out here now. We can't pack your lunches and know what's in the bags. We can't do that. And we can't really require teachers to do much more than they're doing. We can all watch the kids at lunch and watch them on the bus and watch them in the bathroom and watch them in the hall, and it could happen again. But the parents have to take that role. I'm just about that. I spoke to my grandchildren. Now, we've been teaching children to share since they were babies. Share, share, share. And now we've got to say, don't do it. I won't even take no candy from right now. I mean, I'm joking to some extent, but we got to be careful how we talk to them now about that, We want you to be careful who you receive things from, but we still want you to understand that it's okay to be nice. So I hope that parents will talk to the children and ask them to be very careful. As far as upcoming events, Mr. Chair, I'm just about through. The VSBA will be having their regional meeting in Appomattox in March, and I'll bring that date back again. Appomattox did some renovation to the high school, and they want to show it off, which we plan to do very soon, very soon. And so we want to help them out with that. And so there were some myths brought up at the meetings about the VSBA, and I'm not going to go into it tonight, but once we get all board members on board in January, I will bring that back so we all have on the same playing field with what the VSBA is all about. But other than that, I too want to wish everybody a very, very happy holiday. And like I said, for this incident, it'll be on our mind for a long period of time, but let's just be grateful and be thankful that those children are well. I saw a couple of them smiling. See, we the ones that's going to be, we adults take it a little longer because we're older, but we want children to understand that school is still good, and we want you to come on out there. So that's all I have.
Thank you,
Merry
ma'am.
Christmas to everybody.
Ms. Thompson.
Well, thank you. And Ms. Ligon, thank you for those comments. I just want to say congratulations and thank you to all the outstanding students from each of the schools. I think it is just rewarding to see kids that can be such an example to others. Also want to thank Mr. Curd for these wonderful shirts that we have back here. I'm looking forward to wearing that to some of the activities and games. And I also want to thank Mrs. Berg for her service to our community and our students while she's been here on the board. Big congratulations to John Collins for being an outstanding physics teacher for the state. It's difficult to be a teacher today, to be an outstanding teacher. I can't imagine what he has to do, but apparently he's doing it and has been recognized for that. So it's nice to have him on our team. So thank you, John. Want to say congratulations to Mrs. Smith and Mrs. Ligon, having y'all on our team and being part of us. Y'all are great leaders and just such great exemplars to all of us. So thank you for that. I got to go to the luncheon at the bus garage, and that was a wonderful time to sit with the staff. It's always, they are some really good cooks. But we also had some great conversations. And I was reminded, maybe you can answer this. If not, we'll push it off. But what do we have, 2 buses left for air conditioning? Is that right? Are they on schedule to get them done? Like, okay, wonderful. All right. So thank you for that. Also, I know we're hitting the mid-year mark for our school and our instruction, so I'm looking forward to, some mid-year data, maybe February. Yeah, so I know that's seems hard to believe that we're not halfway through. So looking forward to that. I also want to just take time to say thank you to Dr. Wells and his staff, to Gary Rokes, Dr. Hoden, Public Safety, SRO, Sheriff's Department, School Administration. It's just amazing what y'all have done this week. And I just want to thank you for your expertise and for your diligence. I know you're tired and want me to shut up so you can go home. But it has not gone unnoticed. Like Ms. Ligon said, we were kept abreast, and you just didn't seem to miss a beat. So I hope that you're able to rest after this week is over and enjoy the holidays. But I also have been talking to some folks about our kids, and I guess it's coming home to me a little bit about what those kids have to experience and about their feelings of being safe, and so just the trauma that they've been through. And so right now as a community, we need to move in a positive direction. We need to move towards healing for the sake of those kids. And I just appreciate the folks at the school. I talked to some of them today, and the staff, and how they really are just putting their arms around those kids and working with them. So I'm looking forward to that, and all of us as a community helping that community heal. But they will continue to be in my hearts and my prayers. And thank you for providing those CTE resources and for bringing that to our attention. So I just want to say thank you to everybody, and how thankful I am that our kids are okay. And thank you also for yourselves, and that you're a team, our team. So Merry Christmas to everybody, and hope you get some rest.
Thank you. So I did have the pleasure this month to attend several different things. Winter sports are out there, basketball. Got to go to a game the other night. It's a lot of fun to go out and see the kids. The Amherst Parade. We saw the Amherst Express bus come through at the parade, showing up. It's Amherst getting out there, being part of the community. The schools being part of the community. Dr. Wells, MCing again this year, did a great job. The high school teacher luncheon, got to go serve the teachers, show them the respect that they all deserve. They do a great job up there. They deserve an extra pat on the back whenever we get a chance to give it to them. Also got a chance to tour at Elon and see the bridge program when they led to the legislative meeting and breakfast that morning. I thought it was interesting. We went in to see part of the bridge program, and I thought it was going to be all about science and engineering and how we build a bridge and all that stuff, but they were doing word problems, and the teacher was teaching them, hey, we're doing math here, but English is important, and understanding what those words are telling them. So it wasn't a science teacher just going, it's all science. It's taking it holistically and looking at things. So it was fun to see, and the kids were interacting and having a good time, and it was a great event. I haven't seen the other 2 schools that we talked about tonight, but I have been able to see Elon, so that was good. I did get to participate and see Miss Ligon get her award at the VSBA. We were very proud of Miss Ligon there that day. And Dr. Wells and Mr. Crawford, thank you for what you do for our Guard members and reservists. It does not go unnoticed. We wish other employers were as responsive as you guys. So keep up the good work. I wish Ms. Berg was still here. It's been a pleasure working with her for the last 4 years. I've enjoyed the time. Forward thinking on the new school. We're going to need a new school, no question about it. We got a lot of new, like you said, a lot of new roof lines coming to our county. And if you sit back and go, oh my gosh, we need a new school now, we're going to be in trouble. So we need to be forward thinking and moving forward. And let's do this. Let's get things going. Looking forward to seeing all that. As far as what happened at Central Elementary, I want to thank everybody who's been a part of that. You guys went above and beyond. It has been said before, this is not a school issue. This is a community issue. And until the community gets up and realizes they're the ones helping us do this. I just heard a little while ago that the fine for having underage possession of tobacco is $100. But the fine for the underage possession of marijuana is $25. That tells me the community accepts it. The community should be appalled when they hear those numbers. Get up and do something about that. If kids are bringing stuff to school from home, it starts at home. We hate to have to go through what we went through. But like we've said, we're stronger because we did it. We showed we can overcome adversity. We can respond when we have to. We hope we never have to. If the parents would take the time, do the right thing, train them up right, we won't go through this. We won't have to have these meetings. Thanks everybody for coming and speaking tonight. We like to hear how people get their information and how things are going. Mr. Porter, thank you very much for coming. We greatly appreciate your input. You come speak to us very often. We know we're going to get honest opinion from you every time you come in the door. Thank you very much for sharing. I don't know. I think that's about it. But I do want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. Thank you for everything. You guys go above and beyond. So I look forward to the next 4 years. Oh, and by the way, those who were elected and reappointed and will be new to our board, welcome, congratulations, all those things. So thank you, Dr. Wells.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Chairman, can I say one more thing? It's
Yes,
gonna
ma'am.
be quick. He's good, isn't he? I mean, oh, yeah, I'm just relaxing here. Anyway, no, my mind just went, we are serious. The board is serious about combating this problem the best that we can. And you just made me think about it again, so. But I still say what I said, and you said the parents have to help us, and we can all be happy. Because I've been in an emergency room, I know what it's like, so don't think I don't know what it looks like on the other end the other day, so. That's it.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Wells, where
Yes,
are we?
sir. So I have to read a little bit about going into closed session. So pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A1 and A2 of the Code of Virginia, it is recommended the board convene a closed meeting for the following: A1 personnel matters and A2 student matters.
I
Board.
make
need
a
to-
motion to
you
move.
need to read it
I've got to read, which one is it? What's the back of the folder?
I can give you this and just read it again.
Do I have a motion to go into closed meeting?
So moved.
Okay. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.